Good morning, friends. A little morning noodling where I have no idea where I'm going. Yes, well, that's the best way, right? Just, hey, welcome. So, hey, Mojo Shop, the piano key of in for noodling. Interesting. Yeah, that's where we went. I'll take it. Hey, Lewis T. and Sue Finelli and P900 Cool Picks and Georgie, Doc Michael, Winston, Lewis, Kelly F.E. Great to see you, man. I saw you all over yesterday. You're everywhere. Great to see you. Hey, Mike Sweeney. Winston, my friend, did I already mention you? I know I mentioned Sue and Joe, Timeless Journey, Nachiketa. Hey, great to see you. Ocean Cat, everybody. It's great to see you here this morning. Glad you're here. As usual, it's Sunday morning, and so we're going to do some Proverbs, ancient wisdom for a modern world. Let's see, today, of course, is the 8th of November. We're in the middle of all sorts of nutty stuff. So we'll jump right in. I'm going to start, I think, at Proverbs 7 and just kind of move 7 and 8, maybe 9. Going to be a good one today? I think so. These are great ones. So we'll jump right in here. I'll do Proverbs, begin with Proverbs 7, and we'll do 7 and 8 for sure. And let's see, we'll get some of this going here, and jump right in with the King James Version. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with yourself. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of your eye. Bind them upon your fingers and write them on the table of your heart. Say unto wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that you might keep yourself from strange women, from the stranger which flatters with her words. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a man void of understanding. He was passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot, and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her own home. Now she is without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him, and kissed him, and with an impudent face said to him, I have peace offerings with me. This day I have paid my vows. Therefore I came forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with carved works, with fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. For the goodman is not at home. He's gone on a long journey. He's taken a bag of money with him, and he will come home on the appointed day. Yeah, exactly, a cougar. There you go, Doc Michael. Yeah. With her much fair speech, she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. He goes after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or a fool to the correction of the stocks. Till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird hasteneth to the snare, and knows not that it is for his own life. Hearken now unto me, therefore, ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to her ways, nor go astray in her paths. For she has cast down many wounded, yes, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. Does not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She stands in the top of high places, by the way and the places of the paths. She cries at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming of the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are plain to him that understands, and right to those that find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love those that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yes, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold, and my revenue better than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness, and in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever even the earth was. When there was no depths, I was brought forth, when there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave to the sea his decree, that the waters should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. Rejoicing in the habitable parts of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are those that keep his ways. Hear instruction, and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, and watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. For whoever finds me finds life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But those that sin against me, they wrong their own soul, and all that hate me love death. Proverbs 7 and 8 from the King James Version. You want to snuggle with me, Doc? Okay. I know, it is amazing. I'm going to share with you this morning another place that is a great font of wisdom, and that being Psalms. So the book of Proverbs was written, we're told, by Solomon, who was the son of King David. And I've told this story before. As a youth, David gave Solomon all his wisdom that he could. And you'll hear several times in the book of Psalms that he said, my father taught me these things. And my father said, hearken yourself unto these words of wisdom. And so when he was but a youth, apparently the Spirit of God came to Solomon and said, what is it I would give you? What would you have me give to you? Anything. Name it. And because he had been told these words from his father, rather than asking for long life or power, money, he asked for wisdom. And the Lord was so delighted with his response that he gave him all the things. He gave him wisdom and long life and power and money. And as a child, I loved that story. And so I asked for the same thing. I don't think I got it nearly in the kind of abundance as did our friend Solomon. But certainly I felt the Lord be with me throughout my life. And never, so people have asked, and never have I not known that there was something else. Always aware of both good and evil around me, and in a personal sense, that they were actually there, and real. Now it did take really until I was about 30 before I really knew the person of Dad. I met him early, and when I was 17, I had an amazing experience, but it was fearful and overwhelming. But I didn't really know. who Dad was until really getting to learn to know and trust him intimately, and found out that it's not about religion. Anyway, I want to get back to this idea of Psalms. There are 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs, and this is kind of my challenge to people is read one every day, one day per month for 3 months, and see if this wisdom does not absorb into you. Ethan, let's see, an excellent grimoire of spells. I don't know about spells. I mean, that's one way to look at it, I think, but here's how I look at it. They're not all written by David. Some of them, they are attributed. Some of them are David. Some of them are other folks. But certainly they're a bit manic. They go back and forth between everything sucks to this is awesome. But you can find, especially if you're going through trials in your life, as many of us find ourselves now, these are remarkable places to see that there's nothing new under the sun, right? These things have occurred before, and people have experienced what we have. So I'll share with you, this is Psalm 27. I came across it the other day, and it really, I sent it to a friend of mine who was kind of going through a thing, and it just seemed really appropriate for that person, but I am going to toss it out for you as well. Pardon me. This is Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom should I be afraid? When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though the war break out against me, even then will I be confident. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. For in the day of trouble he will keep me safe in his dwelling, and he will hide me in the shelter of his sacred tent and set me high upon a rock. Then my head will be exalted above the enemies who surround me. At his sacred tent I will sacrifice with shouts of joy. I will sing and make music to the Lord. Hear my voice when I call, Lord. Be merciful to me and answer me. My heart says of you, seek his face. Your face, Lord, will I seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You've been my helper. Do not reject me or forsake me, God, my Savior. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Teach me your way, Lord. Lead me in a straight path because of my oppressors. Do not hand me over to the desires of my foes, for false witnesses rise up against me, spouting malicious accusations. I remain confident of this, that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. That's Psalm 27. There are indeed quite a bit more. There's actually 150 books of Psalms. And you can certainly run through a whole bunch of those. I'll share another one with you this morning. There have been several of them. I mean, probably you're familiar with 23rd Psalm is one that's a favorite of many people. I'm going to skip over now to Psalm 77. I cried out to God for help. I cried out to God to hear me. And when I was in distress, I sought the Lord. At night I stretched out untiring hands, and I would not be comforted. I remembered you, God, and I groaned. I meditated, and my spirit grew faint. You kept my eyes from closing, and I was too troubled to speak. I thought about the former days, the years of long ago. I remembered my songs in the night. My heart meditated, and my spirit asked, will the Lord reject forever? Will he never show his favor again? Has his unfailing love vanished forever? Has his promise failed for all time? Has God forgotten to be merciful? Has he in anger withheld his compassion? Then I thought, to this will I appeal. The years when the Most High stretched out his right hand. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago. I will consider all your works and meditate on all your mighty deeds. Your ways, God, are holy. What God is as great as our God? You are the God who performs miracles. You display your power among the people. With your mighty arm, you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. The waters saw you, God. The waters saw you and writhed. The very depths were convulsed. The clouds poured down water, and the heavens resounded with thunder. Your arrows flashed back and forth. Your thunder was heard in the whirlwind. Your lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and quaked. Your path led through the sea, and your way through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Psalm 78. My people, hear my teaching. Listen to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth with a parable. I will utter hidden things, things from old, things we have heard and known, things our ancestors have told us. We will not hide them from their descendants. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power, and the wonders he has done. He decreed statutes for Jacob and established the law in Israel, when he commanded our ancestors to teach their children, so that the next generation would know them, even the children yet to be born. And they in turn would tell their children. Then they would put their trust in God, and they would not forget his deeds, but would keep his commandments. They would not be like their ancestors, a stubborn and rebellious generation, whose hearts were not loyal to God, and whose spirits were not faithful to him. The men of Ephraim, though armed with bows, turned back on the day of battle. They did not keep God's covenant and refused to live by his law. They forgot what he had done, the wonders he had shown them. He did miracles in the sight of their ancestors in the land of Egypt and the region of Zoan. He divided the sea and led them through. He made the water stand up like a wall. He guided them with the cloud by day and with the light from the fire all night. He split the rocks in the wilderness and gave them water as abundant as the seas. He brought out streams out of a rocky crag and made water flow down like rivers. But they continued to sin against him, rebelling in the wilderness against the Most High. They willfully put God to the test by demanding the food they craved. They spoke against God. They said, "Can God really spread a table in the wilderness? True, he struck the rock and water gushed out and streams flowed abundantly, but can he also give us bread? Can he supply meat for his people?" When the Lord heard this, he was furious. His fire broke out against Jacob, and his wrath rose against Israel, for they did not believe in God or trust in his deliverance. Yet he gave a command to the skies above and opened the doors of the heavens, and he rained down manna for the people to eat. He gave them the grain of heaven. Human beings ate the bread of angels. He sent them all the food they could eat. He even let loose the east winds from the heaven, and by his power made the south wind blow. He rained meat down on them like dust, birds like sand on the seashore. He made them come down inside their camp, all around their tents, and they ate until they were gorged. He had given them what they craved. But before they turned from what they craved, while the food was still in their mouths, God's anger rose against them, and he put to death the sturdiest among them, cutting down the young men of Israel. In spite of all this, they kept sinning. In spite of his wonders, they did not believe. So he ended their days in futility and their years in terror. Whenever God slew them, they would seek him. They would eagerly turn to him again. They remembered that God was their rock and the Most High was their Redeemer. But then they would flatter him with their mouths, lying to him with their tongues, and their hearts were not loyal to him. They were not faithful to his covenant. Yet he was merciful. He forgave their iniquities and did not destroy them. Time after time he restrained his anger and did not stir up his full wrath. He remembered that they were but flesh, a passing breeze that does not return. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the wasteland. Again and again they put God to the test. They vexed the Holy One of Israel. They did not remember his power, the day he redeemed them from their oppressor, the day he displayed signs in Egypt, his wonders in the region of Zon. He turned the river to blood. They could not drink from their streams. He sent swarms of flies that devoured them, and frogs that devastated them. He gave their crops to the grasshopper, their produce to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore figs with sleet. He gave over their cattle to the hail, their livestock to bolts of lightning. He unleashed against them his hot anger, with wrath, indignation, and hostility, a band of destroying angels. He prepared a path for his anger, and did not spare them from death, but gave them over to the plague. He struck down all the firstborn of Egypt, the first fruits of manhood and the tents of Ham. But he brought his people out like a flock. He led them like sheep through the wilderness, and guided them safely so they were unafraid. But the sea engulfed their enemies, so he brought them to the border of his holy land, to the hill country his right hand had taken. He drove out nations before them, and allotted their lands to them as an inheritance. And he set the tribes of Israel in their homes. But they put God to the test, and rebelled against the Most High. They did not keep his statutes. Like their ancestors, they were disloyal and faithless, as unreliable as a faulty bow. They angered him with their high places. They aroused his jealousy with their idols. When God heard them, he was unhappy. He rejected Israel completely. He abandoned the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent he had set up among humans. He set the ark of his might into captivity, and his splendor into the hands of the enemy. He gave his people over to the sword. He was furious with his inheritance. Fire consumed their young men, and their young women had no wedding songs. Their priests were put to the sword, and their widows could not weep. Then the Lord awoke as from sleep, as a warrior wakes from the stupor of wine. He beat back his enemies, and he put them to everlasting shame. Then he rejected the tents of Joseph. He did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but he chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, who he loved. He built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth that he established forever. He chose David his servant and took him from the sheepfolds. From tending the sheep he brought him to be the shepherd of his people Jacob, of Israel his inheritance. And David shepherded them with the integrity of his heart. With skillful hands he led them. Wonderful story in Psalm 78. I don't know if you've got a chance to visit with I had a visit with Beth Martins last night, and so you can check that out if you like. I'll try to find it here real quickly and spam it in the chat. It's from Beth Martins, who I'm sure you know her. She does a wonderful channel, The King's Hero's Journey. And let's see if I can find it for you so I can spam it in the chat. Here we go. There. Great talk that I had with Beth, and she asked some great questions. She's just got a beautiful look at some of these things, and her attitude, her spirit are terrific. And she reminded me and was asking about some of the stories in Scripture, specifically David and Goliath, and what happened there, as well as the story of Gideon. And those are both terrific stories. Gideon is one that I love. Zerubbabel, and the two things come out that you've probably heard before. One is sitting out a fleece, right, to test the waters, and that is what Gideon did, setting out a fleece before the Lord. And the other one is this phrase, "Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord of hosts." And hosts there, in the Message, he has a great way of translating that as the commander of the angel armies. And that really is what it means. And it gives a sense of power, that there is amazing, power in who Dad is. I'm going to share with you a dream that I had last night. I woke up kind of late this morning, actually, just not very long before the stream, and it's not often even that I remember the dreams that I have. This one, again, I can't remember all, but I'll just tell you the bits that I was relating to my wife that kind of made me crack up a little bit. But it was, I don't know, it was rather poignant. And so keep in mind that in dreams, sometimes, you accept things around you for what they are, and they may not really make sense. So bear with me as I try to describe kind of what it was. And so in the dream, it was a weird thing. So I was at I was contracted to work at some celebrity wedding, some big shindig wedding, and in part because for my knowledge of music and production, but also, and this is kind of a weird tie-in to what my wife does, she's an expert in historical textiles. So she knows all about historically accurate outfits and the textiles that they use and that sort of stuff. So it was kind of a weird combination of that. And so I was there to make sure that everything was very similar to this previous. They were doing kind of a recreation of a previous wedding from like 50 years ago, some other big celebrity wedding. And everybody was, well, as you might expect, the way that celebrities are these days, snotty, right? And everybody was about themselves, and they were, just wanting to make sure that they got theirs, and that everybody wanted to be the center of attention. And it was a big hassle. Well, at some point, oddly, during the dream, it sort of flipped as though time travel of some kind had happened. And suddenly I was at the original event from some 50 years prior. And it was, I got to tell you, it was fascinating. Again, so we know that, celebrities and the people that we know are all, kind of part of the game or whatever, but just bear with me. In the context of the dream, they were so much more, I don't know how to put it, genteel and elegant. And they were all about, it was all about love, right? And at one point, I remember this, I remember this very well. And so you say 70s wedding, it was more than 50 years ago. Now, I guess it would have been from like the 1940s, 50s, something like that, probably the late 50s was the context. And there was the one point in the dream, and I remember this part pretty clearly, because it was a really kind of poignant moment. There was a gal there, and she was had been sort of a singer-actress, I guess, probably based on sort of like, I don't know, either like Bette Midler or Barbra Streisand or something like that, neither of whom I'm big fans of. But in the dream, it was this person. And she was sort of at the twilight of her career. Not super old, but again, her career was mostly over. And she had come by herself, and because she felt a responsibility to the couple to be there, and it was very, I mean, again, she sort of wallflowered, right? Kept to herself. She didn't want to be noticed because of the things going on in her life. And I recall that someone next to me asked, "Hey, didn't she marry this guy?" And like, yeah. And then they said, "What happened to him?" I guess, so the story was told. He's still alive, but he had fallen into alcoholism, and he was having troubles. He was nearly dead. And so she was not only, again, at the end of her career, but she had supported him through this time. And of course, he was not there. And that was in part why she was so shy and not wanting to mingle. She was kind of, again, hanging out in the corners. And in contrast to what would have been, currently, where people mock and make a big deal out of it and try to shame her, the exact opposite happened. Immediately, everyone sort of came around her and treated her like the belle of the ball. No one said a word about what her troubles or her husband, and acted as though she was about to star in some new amazing blockbuster film. They joined up around her and made her feel like the queen of the day for a moment. And she left. That had happened for a very short period of time, and then she was kind of already on her way out, and she left in tears of joy. And it was very short before I awoken, but I told my wife, I was like, it just made me yearn for a world more like that, where, well, she she sort of laughingly made a comment about with the all the stuff that's been going on, situation with Mac Parhar that we talked about yesterday. That she's like, "Oh, your little cult is getting to you." I'm like, maybe. The things that I want to see in the world. And I don't know exactly why I'm sharing this with you, other than it did make me yearn for a world in which people were kinder and helped others and wrapped and enveloped each other in love rather than tearing them down. So, there you have that. I'm not sure what it means. Maybe it's relevant more to somebody here than than it feels like. I'm like crickets. But yeah, it was a really. I can tell you the one other weird bit right before I woke up, and it made me laugh. It's just a funny thing. The character from Inglourious Bastards. I don't know, it's so dumb. It's the Brad Pitt character from Inglourious Bastards, and he was kind of in a room at the reception with a bunch of guys, right? And he's just being, drunk and obnoxious, much like the character. And he said something about, again, his context was something like, if the world would be a better place if these timelines were kind of linked together, that we had the modern amenities, but with the older ways. And one of the things that he said, and this was right before I woke up, and I woke up laughing because he said it. It doesn't even make sense. He says, if everybody learned the blues, then Leonard Skinner would have been a much better band. I don't even know what that means. And it's a dream, right? I don't even know what to do with that, but it was hilarious. And that's what made me wake up. All right. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you being here so much. It's always a delight to be with you. And, so I guess I would be remiss if I did not point out, that, of course, you can go check out if you aren't aware of the deal with Mac, so check out the stuff from yesterday. We did a stream specifically with Mac Parhar and the situation going on there. So take a look at that. Brian Stavely and Karen B have done a number of streams dealing with that. I know, Freebird, right? I don't even know what's going on with that. It's just so weird. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna let's see. So check out that if you can. Do something to help them out. That would be super great, and we would love that. And remember to just say love each other, right? This is what we need right now. This is the best tribe I have ever seen, and you guys are amazing, right? And I'm just full of love every time I see you guys in the chat. We all get together, and the way that we treat each other is phenomenal. Maybe that's the context of the dream. I don't know. It was just a weird thing, and it made me laugh, parts of it, but parts of it were so poignant. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. We'll leave you with some tunage here. I don't have a whole lot of stuff. I don't have a whole lot of stuff that recorded. I only have about 6 or 7 songs from back in the day that I can share with you. I'll do this one, I guess. So this was, again, probably 1995 or something like that, with Timeless Journey, Joe Ray and myself, from back in the day. And this is with the lyrics, but you've heard this one before. Yeah, yes, it is. Wayne tonight, coming up at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. Wayne McCroy joins me for a full version of Sola Scriptura. So you definitely want to make that. And then, of course, I'm back on Tuesday with Rose 777 for the Poppycock Report. You don't want to miss that. And Wayne and Garth tonight, right? So, yes, we're doing that. So we got the Poppycock Report coming up on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's at Rose 777 2.0 channel, probably until the end of the year. And then we'll come back to Rose 777 channel. I don't know. Maybe we'll start simulcasting it. Who knows? Anyway, Mike Sweeney, thank you so much. And thanks, everybody. Paul Levy and Zilrin and Rob and Sue and Winston and all you folks for coming along this morning. It's always just such a pleasure to have you here. But Big Bear, your emails are so awesome. You just keep it coming. The emails that you send are just terrific. And of course, if you want to send me an email, you can do so. It's in the channel description, unintended.consequences3@gmail.com, as well as my P.O. Box 2248, Lynnwood, Washington 98036. So I'll leave you with this one. This is called Too Much. And again, thank you, Joe, for the inspiration and for being songwriting partner for a long time. Hopefully we'll get back together and, get the band back together and start recording some of the stuff from back in the day and maybe even writing some new stuff. That would be super great. Oh, you found a cassette with... Oh, really? Interesting. I'd love to hear that. Is that from a live recording, Joe? Probably done at Rock and Roll Revolution at Deep Ellum in Dallas? Something like that. It's probably somewhere in that neighborhood. Anyway, so I'm going to leave you with this one. It's called Too Much, and you've heard the music before, but maybe without the vocals. So here you go, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you this evening coming up at 5 p.m. for Sola Scriptura. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Visible streets will meet your sight, marking a pathway where solace resides. The solace is tempered with a burden of proof. The hearts are sincere and let's speak the truth. Your innocence is an endearing quality, but also serves as a warning to me. Never take more than you give. Never break what you cannot replace. Things easily shattered are best left untouched. So God help me learn not to love you too much. A twist of fate or a twist of the night, both means to an end in an unfulfilled life. You want and you need to beg and receive. Your gifts in return are few in between. Your promises empty, apologies old. Your words are impassioned, but your heart grows cold when you take more than you give. When you break what you cannot replace. Things easily shattered are best left untouched. So God help me learn not to love you too much. Gazing through tears at your emerald eyes, your reflection loses focus in an awkward goodbye. With you I'm at peace, but never at rest. For playing at love is as close as you get. But my hunger will never be satisfied. It is the hunger of the soul.